Welcome back to Superstarglam. Today's video is my review on the new Jcat Beauty Chaotic Element 21 color palettes. I picked up all three and I create a look using each one of these palettes. But before we jump into that, if you haven't yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and click the little button down below, subscribe. While you're there, also click the little notification bell. That way you're alerted every time I upload a video. And if you're interested in my review on the new Jcat Beauty palettes, then just keep watching. Okay, so here are the three palettes from Jcat Beauty. You have the Traffic Light Bouquet, the Storm Stimulation, and the Jungle Roar. I think for today's look, since I am going to be trying out all three palettes, but I will do it on a separate day. So for today, I'm going to do one of the palettes, and this is the Storm Stimulation. And then the next time will be one of the other two palettes. And then that way I know that I tried all three palettes and can give you my honest opinion on them. Although in advance I will say that I am usually a pretty good fan of Jcat Beauty. I think they have really good, outstanding products and you can't go wrong with this line. For the most part, I've had really good success. I've already primed my eyes with the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre. I'm going to take I've Got You Covered, which is like this light shade right here. And I'm just going to use this to lightly set. I'm taking a fluffy brush. To start off, since it's more of like a cool tone palette, I'm going to go in with this shade right here. It's like a little, like a light gray. It's called Burrito. It's definitely been quite a bit since I've created a look, so I feel that I am or might be feeling a little rusty. Let's try Raindrops on Roses, which is that purple shade. And there's some fallout, but so far nothing messy. Okay, this one, it's not as pigmented. You definitely have to build it up. Definitely needs a little bit more TLC, working this shade little by little and in blending motion so that you can get an even distribution. But I do have to say that purple is one of those shades that are a little more complicated to execute. It's not bad. I'm going to go back with the fluffy, not adding any more product, and just going over the edges to further blend it out. There's quite a bit of blue shades in here, like 3 different tones of blue and then a shimmery one. I think I'm gonna go with the middle shade. It's not too dark, but it's not too light either. Nice color, super pigmented. I actually like the tone of this one. Some blue shades sometimes tend to pull a little too, I don't know, like green, but it definitely helps to have the purple base underneath. I'm just gonna go in back with the brush that I used with that purple shade. I'm just gonna go in just to help blend that out. I'm gonna go in with the shade called Tofino, which is the darker blue navy, just to further darken the outer. I really like this color too. And then so far these dark ones have been really pigmented and easy to work with. I'm going to take a little bit of that purple shade just to blend out the top portion of that. I've been eyeballing this next shade because it is orange. It's called 5-Day Forecast. So I don't even know if it's going to go with this look. It's super pigmented. First off, there is a bit of a fallout, but we'll see how it works. I just want to apply it to the rest of the lid. Oof, super pigmented. Wow. I'm gonna start off with this shimmer, the God of the Sky. So it's like this gold. I'm just gonna apply it in this inner section. I'm putting like a lighter shade in the inner corner. Just have a good like radiant effect. The shade that I want to put is Say What. It's a really pretty light shade, and I feel like it's gonna look super intense. Oh yeah, super intense, super reflective. Wow. It almost reminds me of some of the formulas that Natasha Denona has, where it's really flaky. So this does have a lot of fallout. So I think this one would work. Gain control of this shade. I would definitely recommend that you wet your brush. I feel that that's the way to avoid having some fallout. There is a shimmery purple shade called Rain Rain Go Away. Ooh, it's really intense. I'm gonna apply this to the bottom inner portion. I'm actually going to run it all at the bottom. I'm gonna go in with the fluffy brush just to blend out the edges. And then I'm gonna take Tofino, the dark navy, and then just help tie in the top to the bottom. Okay, I think I'm going to apply some eyeliner and pop on some lashes. So this is the completed look, and I will be back for my second look. Okay, so here's the palette that I'm using today. This is what it looks like. I'm taking the shade called Blur and applying this to the crease area. I'm taking 1 hour late, and I'm gonna apply this as my outside corner shade. Definitely more pigmented than the purple that I used yesterday. I'm gonna go in with Wrong Way, and it's like a burgundy shade, but I feel like if I apply it here in the outside corner, well, I thought it would deepen that color, but it's not. So I'm just going to go back and forth with those two colors. I'm going back with the fluffy brush, just going over the edges. I want to add a little bit more pop of pink, so I'm going to combine 140 mph and Beep Beep. Okay, this palette is super pigmented and blendable. Like, they're all blending out so nice and seamless, but they have so much color payoff. Okay, the next color I'm going to add here to the lid is One Way Street, which is that really nice turquoise shade. I mean, 80s retro colors are here. I'm going to go back to the purple shades and deepen the outside corner. I'm going to apply the inner corner, the shade Speed Limit. I think if you were using a light base, it would probably pop a little bit more. I'm gonna go in with Pixelation, but I'm going to apply this eyeliner. It's an eye brightener, a lavender blush. So I'm gonna apply it to the, ooh, it's so creamy, to the waterline, but I'm also gonna run it right at the lash line as a base, and then I will apply the shade called Pleasing Eye over that liner to make it pop. I'm gonna wet my brush just so that I can pick up the shimmer. I just need control. I'm just going to apply some mascara and then I'll be back. This is the final look for look number 2. I'll be back for look number 3. So this is what this palette looks like. So I did try to link this palette, but I think it's sold out at Ulta because that's where I got it from. But I did find it in Jcat Beauty's palette if you were interested. I've already primed my eyes. So let's get started. Okay, I'm gonna start with Base Camp. And this is kind of like more my skin tone. So I'm just putting it kind of all over the brow bone. For transition, I think I'm gonna go with King of the Jungle. It's like a orangey, peachy tone. I really like the whole combo of colors here, from like bright orange red shades to orange to deep greens to burgundies. You can get more use out of this palette just from these shades because you can pull a lot of neutral and then just have definitely pops of color. Now it's very interesting, again, from the array of shades, because on the color wheel, the reds and the greens don't really work well together. It could be a good thing or a bad thing. It could either be a good thing where it just neutralizes and gives you like a neutral base, or it could pull very muddy. So it is very interesting on the combo. I'm going to mix Swing By just because I feel like since this was a little bit more brighter than I thought, I'm going to tone it down with that color Swing By. It's like a muted peachy color. So far, all the palettes that I have used have all worked really well, have been very pigmented, and haven't had a shade be so difficult. Like, it all blends out nice and seamless, no harsh lines. So per usual, this is really difficult for me to decide what route I want to take. Okay, I have decided that I'm going to go in on the wild side, which is that bright orange. So I'm going to go in with a cut crease. Going back with the fluffy brush, no more product, and I'm just going to use this to blend out the edges. The next color I'm taking is Jungle Juice, and that's just because it's a deeper tone and I definitely want to deepen this up. So now I'm going to cut the crease. I know I want the green. It's a jungle out there. Out here, like the liner, since it is a deep shade. So I want to add a little bit of dimension. So I'm going to go in with Unbearable, which is like a dark brown. And I just want to deepen this outer corner. Okay, the next shade I'm going to apply is Snake Pit, and it's a lighter green. But I do want to go in with a shimmer, so it really won't matter this color so much. And then in the inner portion, I'm going to go in with Let's Go Wild, which is that like neon green. Okay, there's some pretty shimmers. So I'm gonna go in with Be Curious, which is that deep green shimmer. And I'm gonna wet my brush. This is, I have to show you. This is how much it picked up. It's very, very intense, just to prevent there from being fallout and spraying it. But this is one of the shades that in the palette that actually feel a little bit like creamy. That's just really, really pretty. Okay, I'm gonna go in with the shade that complements the next shade that's in the middle, Drip Tip. And this one wasn't as intense, but when I swatched it, but maybe it applies better wet or shows up better when wet. Oh yeah, definitely has to be wet for its intensity. Okay, and this one I did feel a little bit of fallout, so I'm gonna flick it out with a brush. I'm gonna go back to Unbearable, the dark brown, and apply it to the bottom outer portion. I'm gonna try to put yellow in the inner bottom, but just to warm it up a little bit and marry the two colors I put, I'm gonna go in with Get Lost. It's like a reddish brown. I'm gonna use it to help blend out the dark brown and combine with that yellow. I'm gonna go in with Swing By and help blend the edges. And then I'm gonna go in with an inner corner with Circle of Life. I'm gonna wet it also and put it right here. Ooh, that's intense. I'm going to finish the rest, my eyebrows, pop on some lashes, and then I'll come back for the finished look. So this is the final look. Okay, so all of the shades that I used today on this palette blended out really nicely, had really good pigmentation, were not patchy at all. They all blended out really nicely and they all complement each other, even though there is a contrast in colors. I think you can make it work just like I did. Like, there's no way that I would be able to blend out the orange and the green together without getting some kind of muddy outcome. It just doesn't work that way. But to have them like I did, I think they work nicely. They complement each other. They're rich and deep enough to make contrast, and you don't have to make it so dramatic and so intense. Like, you can definitely choose like the green portions. I really do love like a green eye. These had really good jewel tone, rich, deep shades like the greens and the burgundy. So this can definitely transition into fall very easily, but it could also be a summer palette with the orange and the yellows. Like, it just, this color I love to use like a pop of color, have everything nude, everything muted, bare eye, but just pop this color in the inner corner, or even the lime color with, this color lipstick, or just like a liner, graphic liner. I mean, this could easily be a summer and a fall palette. So I really do love the array of colors that's in here. They each retail for $14.99. This one's definitely a cool tone if you're into the blues. That's another thing. I think they did a really good job creating these palettes, or at least in this collection, of having an array of shades where they could be standalones, pops of colors, or your neutral basic. Like, you could totally have a deep navy look, or even a purple with the rich tones that's in here with the shimmers. This is the first one I used, the Storm Stimulation. It has grays and neutrals. Like, even just using this yellow shade here as like a transition color, and it even has a black, so you could do a lot with this, like a very good smoky deep color. So I really did love this. I love that all of them they also included a highlight shade that you can easily pop in the inner corner. It's really bright, very pigmented. The shimmers in here, some of them are very dry, and I feel that you get more pigmentation payoff if you wet your brush. But there's another formula that it feels creamy and almost wet to the touch. It can be a little messy with the flex when you pick it up, whether it's your finger or your brush, that you do have to blend it out in order to dissolve the texture in it, and then it gives you so much pigment like this one. So this is the one that I was working on today, like the green one, where it was very, very pigmented, very wet feeling, almost crumbly to the touch. I think they best apply if you use your fingers, like you wouldn't have a lot of trouble using them with your fingers. But if you do use them with your brush, I would recommend wetting your brush to have more control. But once you blend it out, it just gives you such a beautiful shimmer on the eye. So with all of these, even Traffic Night Bouquet, again, it's all the pinks, the purples. I love the array. This is, to me, this kind of almost screams like 80s, but again, you have these muted colors that you can definitely get away with using every day. You have a nice transition shade that you could pop in the crease and then just add like a shimmer for dimension, like all over the lid. I think it would work really, really nicely. Like a rosy shade, rose gold, super pigmented, reflective. And they all have this. There's consistency across the board with all three palettes, that they all have very similar formulas when it comes to the matte and the shimmers, but everything's going to be your preference. Obviously, if you're into pinks, purples, more of like accent makeup, you can definitely pick this one up. I mentioned that the Jungle Roar, I don't know if it's just a very popular color palette, but this one is actually sold out. You can't find it at Ulta, at least not on the website. So I did find it on Jcat Beauty's website, but that's, and it's the same price, so you can definitely pick it up there. So I definitely recommend whichever one you choose to pick. I don't think you can go wrong with them. I think that you could have a lot of use with whatever palette you decide to use. I think if there was a one palette that I would be least to pick up, I would probably skip this one. And the only reason why I would skip it is just because this isn't my color story. Like, I'm not into the pinks and the red, so I would have less use for this one. But the rest of them, I don't think that I could go wrong. But definitely my standouts and my favorites are these two, the Storm Simulation and the Jungle Roar. Let me know which one was your favorite out of the three. I would definitely recommend, if you're in the market, to buy a new palette with an array of shades and shimmers and pops of colors, but also neutral as an everyday palette. I would definitely recommend these, and definitely pick out the one that you see yourself wearing more often. Or you can't go wrong with the price. Pick one up that you would normally not gravitate towards and try it out for yourself. I will link them down below if you're interested in them. But other than that, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will see you next time. Bye.